All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Senate. It is May 3rd. I gavel in the meeting at 5:32 p.m. Hello, hello, hello. I hope y'all have been outside recently in the hot, hot weather, but enjoying it safely. And let's do call to order with roll call. Introduce yourself, name, pronouns if you're comfortable, position, and our check-in question for today is, what are your plans for the summer? Suggested by Julius. My name is Kai, he, him, series, pronouns, and Speaker of the Senate. And my plans for the summer is I gotta find a job. I'm in that moment of my life to find a full time. So that's interesting and that's fun. I'm gonna pass it off to Z.
Z, Senator. I also guess I'm going to be looking for full-time work.
Okay, that kind of bugged out for me, but I all I heard was full time work too. So yes. Let's see. Nail Benet.
Hi everyone, my name is Naila Benet. I'm a sophomore, SJ Senator, pronouns are she, her, hers, and this summer I'm doing a study abroad in Taiwan. And I'll call on Mati.
Yeah, hi. I missed the opening question.
Yeah. What are introduce yourself and what are your plans for the summer?
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Mati Tazong. She, hers, pronouns SJ Sander. My summer, I don't know. I'm still planning. I want to maybe do some kind of like internship or something, or I don't know. Sorry. I'll pass on to Z.
I think Z already went,
He
but
already went.
what rhymes with Z is B. What about you, B?
Beatrice Gutierrez Malagon. I use she, her pronouns, coordinator for leadership, and SG Senate advisor. And my summer plans include, like the very beginning of the summer, going to Miami for a week, gonna see family and friends who are also fully vaccinated, and then possibly going to Oregon to visit my best friend Rania, who is maybe out there right now. So, yeah, and hopefully do some hiking out there. So those are my plans.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes, I'm excited about
That'd
that.
be nice.
Passing it over to Maria.
Hello, my name is Maria. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a sophomore, she is letter. And for the summer, my plans are just to work and take summer classes. I pass it on to Jessica.
Hi, my dog just like sighed and I was confused, but I am Jessica, pronouns are she, her, hers, SJ Senator, and my plans for the summer, chill, are to basically sleep and uh work, but like lightly, just to save some money and like do something cool this summer, hopefully. I'll also pass it off to Victoria. Is it? Oh no. Okay. I will hopefully move to my computer and bring it upstairs.
Hi, my name is Victoria. I am SJ secretary, and I'll be taking classes this whole summer, so wish me luck. And I'll call on Patrick.
Hey, my name is Patrick. He, him, his. I'm a senator. This summer, actually, Wendy already knows this because she was there when I got the call for the promotion. I'm going to be serving as an assistant crew chief for the Ocean City Beach Patrol. So if y'all are in Ocean City this summer, please hit me up because it will be a good time. Not in an inappropriate way, and just like a, hey, like, I'll come say hi. Not anything to do with alcohol or drugs or anything like that. Sorry, Candace. And I'll call on Candace.
Why? Jessica always has the appropriate comments. Sir. Stop it, Kai. Candace Martinez Donis is Director for Leadership and Governance. I serve as SJ advisor. I use she, her, hers pronouns. And this summer, well, right now we're on a road trip. And this summer we're going to be hanging around, put the pool up, try to go to the beach. Yeah, do some fruit picking. We love to pick fruit, strawberries and peaches and apples and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna pick on Reese. Did you go yet? No?
No, my name is Reese. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a senator, and this summer I'll just be doing an internship from the comfort of my own home. And I will popcorn it to Wendy.
Hi, I'm Wendy. I use they, she pronouns, and I'm the Assistant Speaker of Senate. I'll also be taking summer classes and working, so very fun plans for me. I'm gonna call on Mena, so you're just gonna do name, pronouns, and what you're doing this summer since you joined a little late.
Thank you. I don't know why I had trouble logging in today. Hi everyone, my name is Mena. I'm actually a senator from pronouns are she, hers, and this summer I'm supposed to do a study abroad program in Jordan, and it's supposed to be like a humanitarian relief aid for counseling internship, but we have to see if that's still gonna happen. I kind of like slacked off with some applying for scholarships and stuff, so I don't know if I can afford it still. And sorry, who's left? Oh, Julius, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Julius Gale. I'm a sophomore psychology major, SJ Senator. My pronouns are he and his. So for summer, I have an internship, so probably won't be doing that. I guess what else? Probably just work with my dad. I don't know. Help my brother just learn some new skills and things like that. Stack money. I don't know. That's about it. Miss Ann Call. I hope that's how you say that.
Hello everyone, my name is Katie Ann Carr. I am a senior mechanical engineering major. This summer I am working at the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory while starting my PhD in mechanical engineering.
So smart. Okay, was that everyone?
I think so.
Cool, cool, cool. All right, all right. That was everybody. And yeah, thank you all for coming. I'm going to go over our land acknowledgement now, stating related to our value of inclusive excellence, we would like to acknowledge that UMBC is built on the native tribal lands of the indigenous Piscataway Conoy tribes. We acknowledge the painful history of forced removal from this territory, honor their history as cultivators of this land, and respect the many diverse indigenous peoples still connected to this land on which we gather. From an adaptation from Dr. Jasmine Lee, Director of Inclusive Excellence. Cool. Okay. Next is the approval of the agenda. I would like to move to amend the agenda to add a new SR 05-2021.
Second.
Cool. We got a second. Is there general consensus? I see no opposition. There's a cute dog. And with that, the amendment has been passed. So I'm going to add that right quick. Oh, I'm still in editing mode. For a suggestion. Okay. All right. Gender link, yes, I can send that in as well. All right, is there a motion on the floor for the agenda? Does it look all good to you?
I move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
As amended, sorry.
As amended. Thank you for the catch. There were 4 seconds. So, with that, is there general consensus? Yes, yes, yes. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. I will share my screen for this as we go towards our meeting minutes. I hope you all had a chance to look at that. Thank you again, Victoria, for putting together the minutes from last week. Is there any amendments or a motion on the floor?
Move to approve the minutes.
Wonderful. Is there a second?
Second.
And with that, then, is there general consensus? They know forever hold your peace, and there's general consensus, passed with general consensus. Okay, I will move on to SRO 4-2021 resolution to commemorate Eid al-Fitr. Did I pronounce that right, first of all?
Kind of. Eid al-Fitr. You were almost
Eid.
there.
Okay. Would you want me to continue sharing my screen to introduce this?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Of course, and the floor is all yours.
All right, so the purpose behind the Senate resolution is because Eid al-Fitr this year, as you all know, it usually falls when Ramadan concludes, and Ramadan is a month that goes back around 10 days, like every year. So the date of Eid al-Fitr changes every year, and it just so happens that Eid al-Fitr on this year is like right on finals. And I think what is even more important to mention is that we don't exactly find out when Eid is until like the night before. So it could either be like the day before finals or it could be on finals. And in addition to that, there are different sects in Islam. So there are different groups of Muslims that either celebrate Eid like the day after the other or the day before the other. And so they're basically like different dates that people celebrate Eid, but they're all around like one day before or after the other. So I worked on this with MENA directly, just to acknowledge that at UMBC, the provost does have a document where they do acknowledge Eid al-Fitr as well as other religious holidays, and they do acknowledge that students should not be penalized academically due to those holidays, due to celebrating those holidays, whether or not we do get off. And yes, to Reese's question, yes, it is related to the moon sighting. So that's especially why we find out very last minute. And some groups of Muslims, so I would say like the majority of Muslims do follow like Saudi Arabia's announcements. And since they're across the world, we find out like right before, just like a few hours before we know, oh, hey, today's Eid. But in addition to when the provost has already like acknowledged Eid al-Fitr as well as like other holidays as religious holidays that students can take off for, I think it's especially important this year because while Eid is traditionally like a 3-day holiday, it is typically celebrated as just one day in the United States. And it being on the cusp of finals as well as potentially being during finals, I can definitely introduce some, I guess, pushback from professors as it has in the past. So the overall purpose of the Senate resolution is to basically stand in solidarity with like the Muslim students on campus, making sure they can actually celebrate. And I will also let Mena speak too, because Mena also worked on this with me and she has some valuable insight.
Mariah did a wonderful job. I don't think there's anything else I have to add, except for like Mariah said, sometimes I know in Egypt I celebrated it for 3 days. So I think it's already kind of like disheartening enough that that Muslims over here can only celebrate it once, and it's like one of 2 holidays of our year. So we don't really have many others. And Ramadan has already been challenging enough as it is, so there has not been much accommodations here in UMBC, because while it's hard to describe as fasting, kind of like putting you off in your studies for a whole month. So I think like at least the very least we can have is a day off to celebrate Eid, and for professors to be very understanding, because I know different professors will be like, well, this finals is open from this time to this time on this day. But I personally, if I'm going on out for aid with my family, I don't know when I will be back specifically, or and I just don't want to have to stress about taking, oh, I have to be back before 5 to take this exam. So I think just really just stressing the fact that professors should be accommodating rather than just being like, oh, well, it's an open window. Because I know some professors have been doing this because of the online environment. I'm sorry, that's it. That's all I have.
Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, I think there should always be academic leniency when it comes to religion in general. So I fully agree with both of you in that statement. Are there any questions for Mario or Amanda?
This isn't a question, but it's more just an acknowledgement of, like how well y'all have been working to increase accommodations for the Muslim student population at UMBC. I think now it's 2 years ago, Hadaya was working for more accommodation during Jama and the prayer situation. So like, I really just want to commend you all for really working to make sure that you all are getting, what you deserve, which is rightful accommodations during Ramadan and during Eid al-Fitr. So I just want to congratulate you all. Like, this is great.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I had a quick question. Y'all might have mentioned this, but I wanted to know on record what you are hoping what action is going to be coupled with this resolution.
Oh, yes. So that's what I forgot to mention. So when we were working on this legislation, I reached out to Murshad for like his opinions. And so the action that is going to be coupled with this SR resolution, as we talked about, is going to be a letter that we will send directly to the provost. And so the letter is still like a draft. So if this resolution is passed, we will attach this resolution to the letter that we will send directly to the provost about, hey, we know that you acknowledge Eid as a holiday and you acknowledge that Eid is a holiday that nobody should get like any sort of academic punishment for celebrating, but it is a little bit different this year. It's going to be looking a little bit different just due to the timing and the dates. So that is going to be a letter that will be directly sent to him following following whether or not this legislation will be passed or not.
Great, great, great. Are there any more questions or comments? Nope. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to echo what Nail Benet says. Thank you so much for taking the time to create this resolution and going forward with the letter to Provost Rouse. I believe it's Provost Rouse. So yes, thank you so much. And with that being said, if there are no more comments or questions, is there a motion on the floor?
I move to approve SR 04-2021.
Second.
Second. All right. Number of senators 4. If you're a voting member, please type I in the chat. Okay, and
That's 11.
Wonderful. So number of senators 4 is 11, 0 opposed, 0 abstaining, and 0 not present. And with that, this passes the Senate. Congratulations, y'all. Yes. Yeah. And, let us know if you ever need help with the rough draft of going through with this letter. But yes. Yay. Woo! Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Next on our agenda is SR 05-2021, a Senate resolution to recommend hybrid commencement for class of 2021. This is written by a student, Katie. Thank you for joining us. You reached out to me a while ago for help, and I hope that with this resolution this can help with your efforts. And I'll just give you the floor so you can introduce what this whole resolution is about.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone, again. My name is Katie Ann, and I'm here with a proposition for a hybrid commencement. So this came up because what had happened was I had noticed that UMBC, out of all the different Maryland schools, both private and public, UMBC appeared to be the only university that was not having any kind of hybrid or in-person option for spring 2021 commencement. All of our neighboring USM schools, in addition to private universities such as Johns Hopkins, are all offering a hybrid option where students have the ability to walk across the stage if they want, and they can see their friends, and they get the opportunity to wear the cap and gown and receive their diploma folder in person. And so as a result, I contacted Kai and I was like, hey, I think that this is something that we should try and consider because, there are schools that are smaller than our school that are making this possible. And I think that a lot of students would really, really appreciate the option to have an in-person commencement. It doesn't have to be like grandiose or large like how commencements have been before COVID, but there are students that share a similar sentiment that these are no longer unprecedented times, and UMBC has the resources to change our current commencement plans to be a hybrid one. We're not proposing that we get rid of the virtual plans that have already been made. What we're asking for is, in addition to the virtual plans, that for students and faculty and family members who feel comfortable being on campus and having an in-person ceremony, that they get that option. As you scroll through the document, you can see that there are proposed solutions for this, which include having multiple stage ceremonies like Park College, breaking it up by first and last name, and additionally limiting the number of guests that students can bring at one time. So before COVID, there was a much larger guest number, but now due to COVID, maybe each student can only bring 2 additional guests, like just their parents. Additionally, other important things to point out is that likewise with these other universities, we would have to have a mask mandate in order to keep things COVID safe. And students who have been vaccinated can submit a vaccination record to Student Health Services at UMBC just to help ease minds for how many students have been vaccinated and how many haven't. As you keep scrolling further, you can see that we sent out a survey so far that's just been able to be accessible via social media for students to fill out. Most students are for an in-person ceremony or the option to have an in-person ceremony, while about 90% of students said if we had a in-person option, they would attend. An additional about 8% also, now 7.4% said they would not attend in person, but they are supportive of other people having one. This is important to note because while we still have a virtual option, it looks like the majority of students surveyed so far are strongly in favor of having an in-person option for our ceremony. Like I said before, this isn't getting rid of the work that the faculty have put in so far for our virtual ceremony. It's that many students would like, in addition to this, an option to walk across a stage. Are there any questions?
Yeah, Katie, do you mind speaking more about what your next plan of moving forward if this were to be passed through the Senate?
Of course. So my next plan after this is passed in the Senate is to then go back and reach out to the faculty members that I've been talking to before with a more formal letter requesting an audience so that we can discuss this in further detail about setting up a hybrid commencement option for the class of 2021.
Wonderful. You kind of broke up towards the beginning, but essentially you're going to request an audience with ed people.
That's right. Yes. I can repeat myself. Basically, I am requesting, and after this gets passed in the Senate, if it does, I will use it to request a more formal audience to discuss this with the administrators that are responsible for the commencement ceremonies.
Wonderful. Great. Yeah.
Can I move to enter a period of discussion?
Is there a second?
Second.
Ooh, okay. And general consents? I'm assuming so. And with that, let's go into discussion.
May I start, Mr. Speaker? Okay. So I just full transparency, I worked with Kai and Katie to write this resolution and make sure it's as bulletproof as it is. That's my job as a president, to make sure the students that come to us are equipped with their full spectrum of what's happening, and they have a strong argument when they present it to the administration. Now, my job as a student is to provide my own opinion and my own perspective, right? And my own opinion is that I'm not in favor of this resolution. I'm just not in favor of this resolution. We spoke to Marie Lily, and she brought up a lot of good points as to why this shouldn't be considered, especially because one, the online graduation was in works since January. It's been working the whole semester, right? They started the process back then. Second, we don't know if it's a majority of students that want an in-person graduation. Actually, according to Marie Lily, it's not the majority of students that want the an in-person graduation. They heard students. They know that they wanted some sort of an in-person experience, so they allowed for students to come in during designated times to take pictures. And out of the 2,000 students that are graduating, only 500 people opted to come in and choose to do that. Another discrepancy that I want to kind of mention that I noticed is that this is a very small, very small sample size. It is only at 68 students, and that is now representatives of 1,700 undergrads that are graduating this semester. It's a lot. And if we learn anything from last Senate, is that a sample size really matters when it comes to decisions, right? So yeah, those are my basic points of opposition. I'm personally not in favor of this, and while I wish you luck, if this passes Senate, I wish you luck. I would personally want it to be known public that I'm not in favor of this.
Kai, do you mind if I jump in?
Yes, sir.
Great. So, a couple of points on that. I think that's frustrating to hear about, that we sort of look at these surveys as like the main way. Like, if we're elected to sort of represent the voice of the student body, it should be on us to sort of put our feelers out and also ask and kind of see, where people stand on this. So I think, while I understand that the sample size isn't great, I know that personally, and this is obviously anecdotal and not as like a scientific survey, but I think anecdotally, I've heard a lot of frustration voiced about College Park having in-person graduation and UMBC not. So this is definitely something I'd be in favor of. I think that a lot of people have worked really, really hard to get to this point in their college experience, and then to see other schools in our same system, in our same state, 20 minutes down the road, and throughout the entire state, say that they will have in-person hybrid commencement for those who feel safe. I think that it's really, really angering for me to see UMBC not at least say, for those that are interested in coming. If 500 people are interested in coming to campus and that's all, and the rest want to be online, that's all right. I'm not saying that we should have a full in-person graduation, but I think that if those 500 people feel like they've spent $100,000 at UMBC for 4 years and they're getting their degree and they want to be in person, that is well within their right to say, like, we should demand that. That is well within their right to say we would like that, and we plan it in a safe way, and we ensure that it's possible. And we know that it's possible because it's happening across the state at other universities, at our peer institutions across the state. So when I heard about this is really frustrating, and I would very happily support this resolution.
Well said, Patrick. Thank you. Is there anybody else?
Echoing what Patrick said, I do think like giving students the option is better, just to even like start this conversation, because I know like there's still a lot of logistics that have to be set in place. I don't really agree with what Marisha said about just because virtual planning has been like since January. I think that it's really valuable, and I think that a lot of students who are going to attend the virtual celebration are going to really appreciate those efforts to make the ceremony great, because like, yeah, it's been several months and I don't want to like invalidate that work, but at the same time, it does feel kind of unsatisfying for some people that I've heard from personally, where they feel like they're not given the same opportunities that a lot of other people are, just because of the pandemic. And I was looking into what other schools were doing with their health guidelines. And there's a lot of like RSVPing. It's in open fields or like even the Capital One Stadium for EMDs, and there's like lots of checklists for health guidelines. So I think that if we were to get this done within like a reasonable time frame, and if people had the option to opt out, I feel like it's like a valuable experience that we can give students.
Oh, Candace, my apologies. You said me earlier in the chat.
Oh, you're fine, but we weren't in discussion, so that's fine. So again, I said this, I said something like similar prior to something I said in finance board. So I'm going to say it here again too. It makes me uncomfortable to voice my opinion on some of your stuff sometimes, because yeah, it just does. It just makes me uncomfortable. But I would be remiss if I did not voice my opinion on this to just let you know as an ex officio member what I think of this. I think that, given the timing that this is coming forward, that it is an unreasonable request of staff to do this. It's not faculty who put on a graduation, it's staff. And other institutions have been planning the in-person graduations all semester because they made that decision then. And there is a mountain of logistics that probably has gone into that. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be something in person for graduates. I think that it is an unreasonable and unfair to ask that of staff at this point, because it's not going to be Greg Simmons, and it's not going to be or the VPs who are having to figure out where to find thousands of chairs or how to space them on a lawn. It's going to be people who make $15 an hour, and who haven't had the time to prepare or get ready for such an undertaking at such short notice. And then if it's being done for undergraduate students, why wouldn't it be done for graduate students as well, right? So their graduation's on the 20th. So it's not just one, it's two, right? So there's a lot of logistics that I don't even pretend to understand because it's not my job to. But what I can tell you is that from the staff that I have spoken to about in-person versus virtual, that at this point, it would be a Herculean undertaking to get something like this off the ground in what day are we on? 17 days, 16, really.
Wait, Candace, can this possibly be like if I know that
I don't know. Yeah, I saw the question about in the summer. I don't know. But I do think that an ask to have something done for a hybrid or have something, it's a lot, and just as you all have been living through COVID and sort of living through that, it's been what feels like a perpetual set of disappointments and situations where you feel like unsafe or you're like, oh, now like you've maybe had to work a job where you're constantly exposed. Like it's been really crappy, right? And I recognize that not being able to walk for graduation is crappy. My brother's not able to walk for his master's, and he's really bummed, like depressed. And I get it. I get it. And I also get that like there's a real logistics and like person toll that would be had on staff if they were asked to do this by the 20th. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Can I jump in real quick?
Oh.
So I'll be very brief. I feel that that argument, I understand it. But if you're saying that the other schools, the other USM institutions have been planning this, you know, were students ever consulted about whether they would feel safe or not? I understand that the logistics of this, it would probably be impossible. You know, I'm not making any bones about like the fact that this probably will not happen, even if this were passed and you were to go protest in front of admin for the next 2 weeks. I mean, I understand that, right? But I think that by passing this, it's like, you know, faculty and the administration should have thought that, you know, there was a possibility this could happen, and there should have been contingency plans or some kind of planning to go into this, so that we're not here last minute with students very upset that we're watching our friends at College Park graduate in person while still, you know, being safe, and we are left with having to pass resolutions, you know, asking that this happened for us. So I definitely understand that, but I don't think the onus of responsibility should just be on the students asking for this. It should be on administration and faculty who, honestly, in my opinion, failed to sort of plan a contingency of saying, you know, like, why don't we also do this if we see our peer institutions in the USM doing it? And I know it won't probably happen, but I would like to see this passed just to send that message that, you know, are there alternatives that we can figure out, like you were saying, for the summer or whatever else. But it really frustrates me that there was no planning put in place by whoever. I don't know who was even responsible for that planning, but there was no planning put in place.
I completely agree with you, Patrick. I also relate to that level of frustration because I just feel like UMBC is so quick. Like I understand why they do it because they still maybe they have taken in the risk factors that like by this time there would be students would feel safe to come in and they still don't think it's safe enough. And I know this is for our safety overall, but this feels very again like very frustrating because we see almost every other school pulling this off, and it feels like we don't have we didn't get a right. We didn't get a say in this. They didn't ask us if we felt comfortable coming in. They didn't ask us if we. It just felt like a little like even high schools hold like almost every high school has a graduation and prom. I'm seeing now, and it just feels like if everyone like I think it is what's especially frustrating because last semester it could be understood and sorry the previous year, but this one feels a little different because it feels like almost everyone but UMBC is getting it. And we have the ability to because again, most people are getting vaccinated. Like at this point, everyone 16 and up is available to get vaccinated. So it's not even like right. Like, I know everyone isn't vaccinated yet, but it's like everyone has the ability to on top of it. So I just feel like if their staff should be able. I know this is very hard on them because again, it's kind of like last minute. But I feel like they should be able to like I don't know, like make a task force to like see how they can address this and maybe this do something about it in summer or I don't know, sometime later on. But I understand that the May 20th deadline is very hard to meet.
Wonderful. Okay. Julius, then Naila Benet, then Kitty, and then Rashad.
All right. I guess for me, in my opinion, I feel like had this been given to us approximately a month ago or 15 days ago, my opinion would be on the side of the students. But seeing that this was unfortunately given to us literally 17 days before graduation, I can't see administration, even if this passes, being able to pull off some sort of task force or things like that to really make this happen. If there was some way to move graduation back a few days or however long it may be to make this happen, I would probably be for it. But seeing that that's not the case at the moment, I'm probably opposed to this at the moment because there's too much there's just too much for the staff and given the situation of where we're currently at and all the planning. Should they have probably had this in place? Yes, but that's neither here nor there at this point because we're not the one that make the rules or just came up with the idea to come make a virtual ceremony. And whatever the thought process was at that moment is something that they had done and they had their reasonings behind it. And we just have to respect them at this point. If we can go back in time and see from this point on that, oh, they should have had a hybrid, oh, they should have talked with UMES and talked to other students. A lot of hearing they should have did, they should have did that. But at this point, I'm probably just opposed to it. And that's just my stance on it.
Naila Benet?
Yeah, so I'm not graduating anytime soon, so I'm just fully giving my opinion. First I will say in terms of the university, like if they brought this up maybe during January, because I don't know when the other institutions started doing their planning for their in-person or hybrid, but even if the institution were to bring this forward in January, not that student input is not important because we are SJ and we do value that very much, but since it is the staff that has to pull this together, since it is the university that has to deal with those logistics, and with the addition of the logistics of like the students, like what students is out of state, what students can even make it to the graduation, things like that. I do think that the fact that the university didn't offer a hybrid option was because they really just cannot pull it together, and that's not something that they're able to do. And I do agree with Candace. It does suck that, some first generation students can't walk. A lot of people can't walk for the hard work that they've put in. But at the same time, it's just a lot. Like it's a lot to ask of the staff and it's a lot to pull together. And it's just, well, I'm not trying to like invalidate not being able to get your diploma, but there are people who still aren't vaccinated and there are people who are having a really hard time still dealing with COVID. So I think just throwing this in the mix might be too much. And even if it were to be held at the end of the summer, like I know I'm going abroad, like if I was graduating and still going abroad, like I wouldn't even be able to go regardless. So I think that this is a good idea, but I do think that you should try and push it towards next semester or the next year and try and bring this up more earlier in time and tweak it a little bit. But as far as now, I just don't think it's fair to the staff. And I think if the staff was able to pull this off, they would have provided that option for us.
Okay, Katie Ann.
For your points. I'd like to address some of them, which is the first is that most students are okay with having our graduation ceremony pushed so that the staff have a chance to pull something together for us. The next point I would like to address is that yes, it really, really stings to watch all of our friends at the other Maryland schools get to walk and we don't. Like, it really hurts. The other point I would like to address about the university is that I agree with the points that are made with that UMBC probably should have planned and thought about if we would get a chance to have a hybrid ceremony and if this was an option. As people were saying in the chat, I agree that the university does have the resources to do this. And while this is late, in return, we weren't aware that the other Maryland universities were planning a hybrid option until more recently, until like the end of April. Another thing I would like to address is that this is not getting rid of the virtual commencement. This is adding a in-person / hybrid option for people who want to do it. And the point of bringing this up now is that most people do not want to come back a year later to do this. That was some of the responses that we got on the survey. Students do not want to come back a year from now to walk. They would like for it to be either like in early June, like or late May. Like if we push it like a week or two after the online option, there's now like an option to go and walk. Students want to do that. They don't want to wait a year. They're not going to come back. The other thing I want to address about the survey that was discussed earlier, like I was saying, many people, to me personally, have expressed a lot of disappointment with how the university has handled our in-person option. They didn't ask us if we wanted an in-person option. Additionally, we all think, not we all, but I've gotten a lot of like messages that people think it's rather impersonal, that all we've gotten is just, oh, you can come take your picture. A lot of people I know have said that if they're not getting the chance to walk, they are not going to bother at all, which is why that survey response that was brought up earlier was so low. This situation has generated a lot of apathy within the class of 2021. And so as a response to how the university is handling it, it's basically people have been saying, well, if they're not going to put in a lot of effort, why should I? That's the kind of attitude that a lot of people are starting to take in their response to this survey. And like how people were saying earlier, like, yes, I understand that it is unreasonable to like ask, like, oh, you have a week, can you do this? Like, I understand that. And a lot of people who filled out the survey, they also understand that, which is why so many students are okay with the ceremony being pushed back until like early June or late May to give the university like a full month to get, or maybe even longer to get things together. But what I'm saying is that students do not want to wait until December 2021 or even May 2022. Like people don't want to wait that long. They're not going to come back. There was one more point that somebody had made in the chat. But yes, it's not going to be, not everybody wants to come as well. And there have been suggestions on how to like do this. It's not going to be one big ceremony. It's like smaller ceremonies that are split up amongst the different colleges. It's not a full-time commencement. We are not asking for the full ceremony that happens under normal circumstances. What students want is the ability to walk across the stage and see their friends one last time. Like how other people have mentioned, it's not going to be everybody. Not everybody wants to do this. So yes, I know a lot of people had said like, oh, it's too late, but a lot of people are requesting that, like, we push back the in-person option, not saying that we get rid of the online option, but we have a later in June in-person option for people to do this. And many students feel that UMBC does have the capability for us to have an optional walk in June.
Okay, Rashad.
Yeah. This is hard. I'll definitely say this is hard. I have 5 points to make. The first being is that there is already an in-person graduation ceremony planned for these classes that missed their ceremonies due to COVID, right? It's going to be held in 2022, and all of those students are going to have a chance to walk the stage and receive their diploma in the right way. So that's already in plans. Secondly, I want to say that the data really matters to me. I know that that's what the admin look to, and this is just not strong enough. It just isn't strong enough. And the loudest voices are not always representative. I want you all to know that. It's true. The loudest voices are not always representative. Just because a lot of people are hearing that, a lot of people want an in-person graduation, that doesn't mean the majority of the student body wants in-person graduation. In fact, we don't know that because we haven't had ample time to research that. We don't know that. So we can't make assumptions that the majority of the student body is leaning one way or another. No one can make that assumption. It's all based on personal, personal opinions, right? Secondly, I agree with Candace. GSA is not complaining about this. They are liking their online graduation, and we're usually in line with GSA. And for SGA to advocate for that, we don't have to stay in line with GSA. I want you all to know that. But for SGA to advocate it, it's just we're going against what GSA is doing. And lastly, I just think that they're not going to do it. To be realistic with y'all, to be frank with y'all, and to save y'all energy, it's not going to happen. The administration is not going to happen. They're going to listen to you. They're going to hear you. But at the end of the day, like everyone else has mentioned, it's just not feasible to do something like this late. So those are all my points. Again, at the end of the day, y'all are free to make the decision that y'all want, but I advise against this.
Could I ask a quick question to Katie Ann? I was just wondering when the survey was sent out.
Yes, sorry, 1 second. Yes, okay, so sorry, there are 2 points in the chat. The survey, it's not that old. It was sent out this past Friday. So it's not old, it's only been out for a few days. Like I saw this other point in the chat that said yes. And I wanted to counteract the previous point that was made. Just because not all students want it, that doesn't mean we shouldn't give the option for students who do want it the chance to not have it. It's kind of in a way similar to you give accommodations for people who want the accommodations. Like it doesn't have to be for everybody, but you accommodate those people who want those accommodations. And I think that maybe sending out like a larger survey for all graduating seniors to opt to like fill this out so it reaches more people. Like this is just up on social media. We're not trying to target a specific audience. You can fill it out like if you see it. So yeah, it's not that we were targeting like a specific group of people. It's just that like I don't have access to a mass email to send this out. And as a result, the survey also isn't that old. It's only a few days old. I think if more people were reached with this survey, we would have a better set of data. I also additionally think that, again, like maybe it's like a 50-50 split, but if 50% of the class of 2021 wants an optional walk in June, then I think we should try to do that for them.
So I am noticing like a lot of really good points, and I was wondering, like, has there actually been like a full conversation with the administration about what was behind their decisions? Because I've heard a lot of like assumptions that I just want to point out, because assuming that like we don't have this option for like a hybrid ceremony, or like administration's never brought up or asked students like, hey, how do you feel? Like, assuming that's because it's like not logistically possible, I wouldn't want to like jump to that conclusion. And it's same thing with like the timeline, because it's like not super clear in the SR, to me at least, that like it's emphasizing the logistics of like planning something for later in the year, besides like the one next spring. So I was wondering, like, do we actually know why they made the decisions that they did? Because if we had more survey data, like what would it take for people to like agree with this? Or is that like a decision that you would stick with, like wanting only virtual commencement, like no matter what numbers we were given?
To be honest, for Wendy, for about that, I'm pretty sure it just like I can just assume. Obviously, I don't know. I wasn't there when they made the decision, so I'm pretty sure it relates to just, and they just didn't want to risk any like COVID. They just didn't want to risk any of the safety. They just think it was UMBC or the world will be ready at that point to have an online commerce. Like it does. I can understand why they would decide to do an online ceremony instead, because I do think, especially in January, things did not look well. That was still where it was a huge like surge in numbers. So if they decided that early on, that it's still not safe, I do think that they were right to decide that and continue with that. But I just feel like looking at things now and seeing how safe how safe it could be, I just feel like those students, whoever wants to come in for the in-person version, should be able to.
Actually got the chance to ask like why the university had made some of these decisions. One of the things that the university pointed out, or when I was talking to someone, was that the bleachers in the soccer field are broken, so they wouldn't be able to have an in-person commencement ceremony there. However, to counter that point, UMBC has a lot of, the soccer stadium isn't our only stadium or our only open field. And that was basically the one counter argument I had gotten from the university, was that like we just couldn't have it in the soccer field, but there are other places.
Rashad?
So I actually haven't answered that. We all know how conservative UMBC has been with COVID. We all know that. We all know that how conservative you've been. And this is another example of UMBC being super conservative about COVID. And realistically, there's no way that they can track whether these students have symptoms or COVID within such a short amount of time. They can't verify their vaccination. They can't, not every student does COVID symptom tracking every day. No one does. Only the students that are coming to campus are, mandated to do COVID symptom tracking, and not all graduates came to campus. So it's a health issue. It is, a time issue. It is a lot of the faculty and staff that are working are also immunocompromised. So it's a lot of different moving pieces that just make an online graduation for UMBC kind of impossible right now. Now, I'm not saying that this is, that UMBC shouldn't have had, thought of contingency beforehand. They should have. UMBC should have thought of a second backup plan since January, but they didn't. Not sure why they didn't. We can go shout at whoever didn't think of that. But at this point, at this late in the semester, even if we were one to ask for a June ceremony, it's just not gonna happen. I'm sorry, it's just not gonna happen.
Okay. And speaking of time, I realize it's 6:25, so I want to kind of wrap this up. And are there any last minute comments before we move on?
I'll make one last thing. I think first of all, thank you all for hearing me out on this. I also think, additionally, back to the previous point that was made, that like if somebody feels unsafe, like they don't have to come. Like you don't have to come. We have an online ceremony for that reason. The point I'm making is that students who do feel safe with coming, many of them that have been surveyed do not want to wait until 2022 to graduate. I know I've had like multiple friends tell me that if it's not happening in like over this summer, like they're not coming back. And that's a pretty strong sentiment from with people I've speak to. So that's like the one thing that I wanted to say. If people aren't comfortable with doing this, like they don't have to do this. It's that if they're comfortable with doing it, we're not trying to force anybody to do anything. I'm just pointing out that as a Maryland student who goes to UMBC, watching all the other Maryland colleges have in-person ceremonies, while we don't, again, like it really, really stings. And there is a sentiment that our school could have and should have done more.
Wonderful, wonderful. This was an awesome discussion topic. I don't remember the last time we discussed such thoroughness of it all. So I'm really glad to hear everyone's thoughts and opinions on this matter. And yes, there's still comments coming in the chat. However, I would like to move on after discussion.
Kai, could I say something before we move into the voting? I just want to commend Katie Ann and her work with this. I think everyone should just give her a huge round of applause right now because this is great. This resolution is great. And her work for this is great. And, you know, I'm really sorry that things were turned out the way that they did. But, you know, I just wanted to let you know that this is great work and we really appreciate you coming into our space and bringing this up.
Yes, echoing what Michelle said, thank you so much, Katie, for going through with all this work. You've been contacting Marie Lilly multiple times about this and writing this resolution, and I believe you are, in fact, the first student to write a resolution this past year alone. So thank you so much for having this passion.
Oh, thank you so much. I also wanted to say one last thing quickly. While I probably personally wouldn't even be able to attend an in-person ceremony, I just know that there's so many students who are upset about this. So I thought it was like worth bringing up and fighting for because nobody had said anything.
Yes, exactly. Now, with that being said, I would ask if there is a motion on the floor.
I motion to approve SR dash 05 dash 2021. Is that how I do it?
SR 05-2021, yes.
Okay, perfect.
We have second in the chat. Okay. So number of senators for voting members only, please type I in the chat. Okay, last call for. All right. Number of senators opposed, please type in nay in the chat. Number of senators abstaining. I don't have the right math. Did I count correctly?
No, it looks like everyone voted.
Everyone voted? Is there only 9 of us here? There should be 11. Ah, thank you very much. All right, the number of senators abstaining, 0, and not present is 0. And with that, this passes over 2/3 majority. And yes, congratulations, Katie.
Thank you.
Kai, it hasn't passed yet. It doesn't have the signature. So I would wait on that before announcing its passage.
Has passed through the Senate with the votes. Yes. Yes, Katie, please keep us in contact and for any more updates regarding. But again, thank you so much for creating this well-written resolution. And this is not going to find its board because this is only Senate resolution. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Let us know if you have any more questions, Katie. And yeah, thank you so much. You're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. But other than that, it's been great.
you so much.
Grazie, grazie. Okay. Let us move on to our next agenda item. It's the Senator Initiative updates. Oof. I'm winded through that discussion, y'all. I don't know about y'all, but that was a very well discussion topic. Initiative updates. Jessica, do you mind starting us off?
Hi. So basically the I3B one was last week. I wasn't here, so I don't know how that went, but hopefully it, again, like started some thoughts with regards to as an organization what we can do to both outwardly to student body do better with DEI, but also internally evaluate anything that we might need to evaluate. I wasn't here because there was a death in the family, so I was recovering. And so yeah, okay, yeah, fantastic. Love Lucy. Very sweet person. And then second one, there was some like miscommunication with the communications department. So hopefully that'll be rolled out real soon. Um, and I can also like leave like a question. So like basically just to recap on what it was supposed to be, it was supposed to like introduce basically the initiatives that we've accomplished this past semester from the Senate side. The original plan was to have it all posted before um, the election season, but then I submitted the request and it just like it never happened. And so I followed up with that, and basically they're going to try and get it out, I think, this week. If I'll follow up again just in case because I'm like anxious about that. But basically, it was because of the election season, it was supposed to only focus on outgoing. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, no, he's chilling in heaven, you know. What's up? And so, yeah, no, I'm doing better. This isn't my first loss this past year, so you know, therapy. And so, basically, uh, it was supposed to be focused on only outgoing senators, but now that elections is basically over, congratulations to all of our returning senators. Um, basically, I might like leave a template or something to like switch gears for like introducing new senators for next year, just because I think that could be like a really good shift in focus to get y'all well accommodated for next year. So if anyone's interested in getting like the forms that I used or like the basic template of like what things look like, I'm more than happy to pass that on to you to hold on to keepsaking. But yeah, besides that, it's been great, y'all. Thank you for having me here for the one semester that I was here. Great time, yes. I will pass it on to you, Wendy. If anyone else is interested, let me know. But yeah, besides that, that is all.
Yes, yes. I don't know if it's too late to put that on social media because I do believe that y'all should be put on blast of all the accomplishments and initiatives that you put out, not only this past semester, but this whole entire year, because um your hard work should be is validated and should be shown to the rest of the students. So I'll be talking to you, Jessica, later on about that. Julius.
Okay. Yeah, not much this week. There's a lot of exams and just catching up on work I needed to do. I'm hoping to meet with Mr. Hamilton this week. I did email him about availability and things like that. So we'll see where that goes. But that's about it for me.
All right, I believe next is Maria.
Maria has a lot of background noise, but I just wanted to read her update from the chat in case anyone can't see it on mobile. So Maria spent the past week finally being able to be put into contact with the CS professors and discussed implementing a Linux crash course for both transfer students and just freshmen in general, which they supported. So that's something she'll be continuing over the summer and fall. She also worked on the letter/SR resolution that we went over today.
Which was beautiful. Thank you. I didn't see that in the chat. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Menno.
Sorry. For my updates, I haven't really done much just because I had like a final project and a final paper to work on. Besides just like a quick overview of what Mariah's office are that you guys saw today, and yeah, so that's it.
Um, Congratulations on the re-election.
Thank you.
With
So
with
I
that
missed that the morning.
with that being said, are you still planning to plan in the summer, during the summer, your composting initiative?
Yeah. It's already been in talks, and for sure it's gonna be continued next semester, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But I'm definitely still pursuing that, and it should be able to work out.
Are there expiration dates on compost bags? Because if not,
I don't think so.
technically it's still allocated, and you can create an allocation.
Yes, I've been really meaning to reach out and still see if I can just at least buy the products now and then store them in one of the warehouses for UMBC sustainability, and then use it for next semester. But I've been a little bit busy, so hopefully I'll be able to do it this week.
Gotcha. Well, I'll check in with you later this week on that because our last one-on-ones are this week.
Oh, thank you.
Rashad, you have your hand raised?
Interviews?
You have your hand raised?
Oh, no. I'm so sorry. I was so zoned out. No.
You're good. Wonderful. Mati.
Yeah, so far, well, I got in contact with Shady Group today about the transit, and so they said the director is out until Wednesday, so they'll get me in contact with her to find out what to do about the transit stuff. And then I did manage to post some updates on Instagram with transit schedules, the bus routes, and like some healthy tips like Mr. Teak sent to me, and I was finally able to download the transit intro video that he made on Instagram, and then he made another one made 7 months ago, so I want to add that one on Instagram as well to get more students like aware of what's going on with transit. And so yeah, that's it.
Wonderful. Naila Banana?
Yes, so I haven't done anything, but I have an update on like my initiatives, I guess, life right now. I3B has invited, I think, me, Kai, Wendy, Jessica. Are you sure you still can't go? Okay. Low key Jessica in spirit Jessica, to like talk about the initiative and the results of the focus group a little bit more. And I'm honestly really excited about that because I know like the sample size was really small, but it does, mean a lot that, they're really like looking into this and trying to make it more easily implementable. What's the word? Like make it like implement it, I guess, for multiple years to come and like for other student groups on campus. So yeah, I will keep y'all updated if there's even time to come back and update on how that meeting goes.
And I have to recheck my schedule or calendar for that, but I may be able to attend. I have to recheck, but wonderful. I believe next is Reese.
Yeah, let me just share my screen real quick.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who have seen the SG Apps website before, this looks a little different. In my opinion, it's cleaner, and there's also more clear calls to action because previously you would have to click on the icon or the title of it, which was explained up like here in the text at first, but then I'm sure no one reads that. And yes, I'm glad that you said that, Candace, because I think that I wanted to show that you can launch the app, but also there are ways for people to contribute themselves and like view the code. So if someone were to do this, you'd say we could. It takes you to our UMBCSJ GitHub, and it lets people see our code. It lets people can create pull requests. Like GitHub is a fully public platform for exactly this. And yeah, there's like a few more that I need to add, but this is just, I think, better looking. Thank you, Jessica. And so this is what I'll also be doing this next year as well. That's about it. Yeah.
Wow, it looks so clean, so fresh. Good job. Very proud. It's like low key reminds me of one of those designer websites where it's like very like minimal, but it's still like very bougie. I love it. Wonderful. I believe next is Patrick.
Hey, so this week I met with comms. They're gonna work up some like just some basic infographics by the end of the week. Or sorry, by the end of the semester for next semester. It's not the end of this week, probably the end of next week, hopefully. And those would be good to share out. Hopefully beginning of next semester and kind of kickstart this again. I also was able to email back Salisbury. I haven't heard from anywhere else, but I'm gonna start reaching out to some students. I initially was emailing like the main like SGA line emails. So I'm gonna see if I can start reaching out to some students and make some more personal connections. I am worried that it's gonna kind of run up against the end of the semester though, and people are gonna not want to respond and whatnot. But hopefully that we can at least get a few schools on board. And I also went to the Inclusion Council, like subcommittee on the divest issue. So that was interesting, informative, but it just not as action oriented as I would have hoped. But definitely something that'll be good. I think that it'll contribute nicely later on. So.
Yeah, I was very happy, and I was very happy to see that Salisbury replied back so timely too. I believe they replied back within the day, so I was very happy to see that, and I can't wait to see possible collaboration efforts between the UMBC SGA and their SGA. Okay. Wendy.
To add on to what Patrick said, do you mind if I share my screen to go over what that inclusion council consisted of? Okay, so just in a little bit more detail. Okay, so these were some of the notes from that meeting, and I took my own notes as well. So great. When it loads, sorry, not that. Yeah, so this is more of like a transcript really. So it wasn't very action oriented like Patrick said. So a lot of what we discussed revolved around this list of recommendations. And so the working group for economic decisions and values for like the Divest MCE initiative, that's under like the larger Inclusion Council. So they wanted to like present these following things because they have a larger Inclusion Council meeting on May 7th, or no, wait, I think the 12th, but these will be finalized by the 7th. So this is just some of the things that we've been discussing, but it's not very like action oriented in terms of like what we can actually do. They're just recommendations, which is a little bit frustrating. We like started talking about some sort of campus-wide survey, and I was learning like what you think of SGA putting out a survey, because there's actually already a petition, but I think that was started by someone at UMD. It's got like a couple thousand, but yeah, this is very much like still like a work in progress. I'm gonna stop sharing. But yeah, I don't know if it's still helpful to have some sort of like survey that SGA makes, given the point in the semester and the fact that we already passed our JR. Can I ask for thoughts and opinions? Also, since it's like final season too.
Within the JR, has anybody in like upper administration been notified? Like, or I think they've been notified through steering committee, but have you reached out to anybody else above them?
Yeah, I've been reaching out to people, but I haven't contacted some of the people because I got like a better list of people to reach out to and like other senates from that inclusion council meeting last week. So I still need to like add more people who can actually like do something because like the people right now, a lot of it's just for like awareness and they're not like in a position to actually change UNBC's economic policy. So like those have been sent out, but for like stakeholders who can actually like implement these changes, I got some more names that I will be emailing after today's meeting.
Send it to everyone. Wonderful. Any other suggestions anyone might have? We can brainstorm during our one-on-ones. Maybe our one-on-ones with Yumi and Patrick, we can brainstorm a little bit more because it's fishy. Cool. And Z.
I still haven't heard back from communications. I'm about to shoot them an email just to check in. David Royer just got back to me, and I'm having issues filling out the form, so not sure what to do with that. I'm going to have to figure that out real quick.
With the ResGaf form?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what kind of issues are you having?
Like, I wasn't sure how to figure it out. I accidentally filled out the wrong form, and the ResGap form is, it keeps asking me to put in like treasurer, president, advisor, and I don't know if that's for SGA because.
Yeah, so for that portion, you just put in their names because I think it automatically does it sign them? But you put in their names. So Rashad for president, Siri for treasurer, and then Candace for advisor, I believe. Yep. And after you fill that portion out, you click next. It'll take you to like the full-on form where you're saying, okay, I want this amount of quantity for this specific thing, and it'll cost this much, and it was allocated for this much. And that's essentially it. Our one-on-ones are tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. So I can help you step by step on how to do that tomorrow.
Okay.
And I saw that on the social media SGA, especially I think Instagram, they posted the graphic for Together All. Yeah, it was up there. So it looks good. It looks wonderful. Perfect. Roger. Okay. In terms of my updates, I've been helping Katie Ann with this whole graduation thing, as well as this past Friday, we went and restocked some of the we went and restocked the Free Menstrual Products Initiative, and it seems like a lot of people are using it, which is great. Most of the baskets were almost empty, so people are definitely using it, and I can't wait for the dispensaries to come along into the restrooms. Shuby, our next senator who was an FY was helping me with this initiative. I'm going to be passing the mantle on to her. Can't wait. Gave her all the all of the stuff that was in our collected folder. Can't wait. And yes, all right. That's all I have to update on myself on. Share governance committees. Were there any share governance committees recently? Yes, we have our first ACC meeting this week after like a month. So someone got caught after a month. Yes, oof, they broke the streak. Ah, it only takes one. Yes. All right, if there are no SGCs, let's move on to announcements. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I saw B and then Candace.
All right, so for me, two things. One, if you didn't meet with me for our Senator one-on-ones last week, please shoot me an email and with your availability for this week. And if you're not able to attend or see me because you're that busy this week, feel free to just let me know that you can't, and I have an alternative for you. But yeah, just making sure I finish last reflections with you all before y'all are sent off to do either another senator year or doing whatever your UMBC endeavors are. So yes, please email me if you did not see me last week. I was out last week, so there's a few of you I wasn't able to see last week. The second thing is, if you haven't, which actually all of you except for Julius, if you have not submitted your letter to a future senator, please do so. I'm giving y'all until this weekend to do so. You can either type it on the form or you can upload a doc, type it on a separate doc and then just upload it to the form. I'm putting the form on the chat for you all. And I'll be also sending an email out just in case with a reminder to please do this. As a reminder, this letter to a future senator is for y'all to essentially provide words of encouragement as well as words of wisdom that you may have from your experience as a senator that you would like to pass down to the future senator. So if y'all can get those to me before May 10th, that would be fantastic, because the idea is that they will be receiving it on May 10th. Thank you very, very much.
Grazie. Candace.
So I want to say congratulations to all of those who have been reelected and who were newly elected to the Senate. We announced the election results today. I also want to, there was some, oh, the inauguration is next Monday, the 10th at noon online. So if you want to go to that, there's an event in my UMBC that you can go to, and there's a link for that virtual event. I want to congratulate B on being elected a senator to PSS. Congratulations, B.
She's a professional staff senator.
Professional staff senator. I'm very excited for her. And then what else? Don't forget to do your end of the year reports. You probably could just copy and paste the letters to a future senator. Probably it's out a lot of the same stuff. And I'm trying to think if there's any other announcements. I don't think I have any other announcements.
CCC. Yes, echoing the Future to Senators thing, as well as May 10th, the incoming Senate will be joining us for our last meeting / their first meeting. So very exciting, very exciting. This is B for President, yes. Yes, are there any more announcements? C'est la vie, c'est la vie. Okay. I would like to now adjourn the meeting at 6:55 p.m. and I'm gonna hit stop record.